Good morning, lovely. And a channeled message. A river is about to flow in your life. Where it was once dry is about to be flowing. Where it was once barren is about to be fruitful. Stay focused on gratitude right now. So this message came in while I was laying in bed the other day, and there's a like an irrigation ditch in the back of my house. And my landlady told me about it when I moved in. She said that when she moved in, she when she bought the house, she thought it was a creek that ran all year round, and that's part of the reason why she bought the property. I never got to see it when I moved in because it wasn't flowing. But yesterday morning, I woke up and it was flowing. And it really sounds like a real creek or a small river. And so this channeled message just started coming in. I was half asleep hearing this water moving in the backyard, and those words flowed through me. So this is for anyone that's been anticipating some grand transition in their lives, anybody who's been preparing for it and manifesting it into being. There are two things I want to say right now, and that is that we are born with a purpose, okay, with the soul path. But that does not mean that everything is predestined and that everything's already written. What it means is that we have a specific goal that we want to achieve, and there's kind of like a seedling or an idea, a vision in our mind of what it would look like. That's what's driving us forward. But no, there is no actual full reality that we're supposed to step into. There are multiple different realities that are possible, and that's kind of what we tune into. And I'm saying this because some of you know that you're meant to have abundance. Some of you know that you're meant to be known or recognized or famous or important or impactful or something, even if you don't want any of those things. Some of you just know that that's who you are. That's what you came here to do and to be and to have. But just mind you that there are ways in which we can talk ourselves out of our soul path, kind of wander off the side path, sell ourselves short, create things that are less than what we desire because we're too afraid to go after what we really want. So what I'm saying is, even if you know your soul blueprint is meant for something specific, there's still a part of you that can sabotage it, that can talk you out of it, that can walk you down a different path because it seems safer, it's more familiar. And most of the people in my collective have had a certain outcome their entire lives of being rejected or of being impoverished or feeling disempowered, excuse me, of just not having what they feel like they need in order to thrive or even to survive. And so for those people to walk blindly in faith, trusting that on the other side of this kind of treacherous path that they're on is going to be the complete opposite in a lot of respects of what they've had their entire life. It's a little hard to imagine, isn't it? It's a little bit hard for us to picture having this dream life that we've been that we've been dreaming of, to actually have it show up in our life and be something stable that we can rely on is a little bit much for us to imagine. So this message is for you. If that's your story, Lion Sweetie, don't do that. Okay? Go on. Sometimes he wants, I always build a little tower. I tell you guys this every time, and he loves towers. He wants to dig underneath them. But this is for you because if you stay focused on your goals, if you stay focused on your highest timeline, and if you trust that you deserve what's coming for you, things are going to start changing. Okay. And the reason why I say that you feel like you deserve it is because a lot of us that have experienced all the things I said, impoverishment, rejection, etc., it can be extremely hard to trust that we deserve better things because all of our lives we've been shown the opposite. You know, we've been shown that we don't deserve love, that we don't deserve financial abundance, that we don't deserve to be taken care of. And of course, that's not really what we've been shown, but that's how our ego translates it. That's what our ego likes to, that's the story our ego likes to tell, especially when other people are around. This woe is me, this horrible story of, just how much our life has been hard and terrible. Just know that the more that you dive into that story and pick it up and, play with it, the more you're making it a reality, the more you're actually turning it into something real. Some of us have been working so hard to get past that fucking fear and that disillusionment, and this idea that we're not worthy. And that's what I've been working on. And holy shit, is it hard? It's really hard. But you know what? One foot in front of the other. And the more that you do this, the closer you're going to get to the version of you that knows you deserve it. And then by the time you get to the end goal, there's going to be enough of you cultivated that thinks you believe it, that knows you believe it, that the rest of you will just kind of follow along. It doesn't mean that it won't go quietly. I'm sure it will kick and scream and freak out, because that's what the ego is trained to do, is to keep us safe and in its opinion, that's at all costs, pretty much at the expense of anything different. Okay, and obviously the kind of lifestyle I'm talking about transitioning into is very different. And I've heard a lot of you. I've been working with a lot of you. It comes in spurts, waves. But this past week, I worked with a bunch of you, and it felt like the theme of the week was fear of success. Okay, not so much fear of failure, fear of success, fear of actually having what you want, fear of being seen, fear of being accountable suddenly, where before you could maybe hide in the shadows. And of course, I totally understand, because even though in a way I'm not hiding at all because I'm out here talking to you guys here on YouTube, I am a hermit. A lot of you guys already know this. You know, I spend 99.9% of my time alone, not including working with people one on one on Zoom, which is very different. It still counts, but it's different. And even then, I don't do a ton of one work with y'all. So I spend a lot of time alone. The idea of going from the kind of solitude that I've been living in for the last 4 years to being in the public eye, to maybe standing on a stage and addressing, hundreds or thousands of people in a conference or whatever it is that Spirit's showing me, because I see a lot of things. It's terrifying. Don't get me wrong, right? It's not exactly the most encouraging, exciting thing I've ever thought of doing. Again, not all of us want this path that we're on, but we know that it's our path. And so we move forward and we make accommodations because we know that it's important. And the thing is, it is important. The work that you're doing and the work that I'm doing and the work that I'm talking about specifically is all about raising the vibration of the collective, healing our trauma, finding our, finding our self-love. I guess that's a great way to say it, because we do intrinsically have self-love at birth. Like we love ourselves. It's just that over time we kind of learn to not love ourselves and to not treat ourselves well. So it's remembering how to love ourselves, I guess. And that is the journey back to the self, to this higher mind, to this new earth. And that's the journey that a lot of us are on. And it's at the expense of our ego and our comfort zone, which is pretty much the same thing. So the part of you, I just need you to know that the part, some of you guys said this past week, I know that I'm supposed to, I know that I should, but I don't want to. Or it's inconvenient. Yeah, it's inconvenient, but it's only inconvenient for your ego. And once you start thinking about it that way, that the decisions you're making are actually based around your ego, it makes it a lot easier to say no to your ego, because your ego is basically like a petulant child, a spoiled child, because we don't want to say no to every child who needs something, but spoiled children who always are used to getting their way, who are used to throwing a huge that's the ego, who used to freaking out and like involving all these other people and just being dramatic, and that's your ego. You don't want to indulge that kind of energy. You know what I mean? And ultimately, we just have to keep moving. It's hard, trust me. And every morning I wake up, it's a little bit like the Groundhog Day lately. And I don't hate my life right now because I have this gorgeous view. I just have this beautiful backyard. It's like a garden. It's like a park. It's like a giant park in my backyard. So, but I spend a lot of time alone and just like hanging out outside, and the days are just kind of running together. It feels a little bit like the Groundhog Day, where you just wake up and you're like, okay, just another same old fucking day. But what I'm not really accounting for is how much work I'm doing on the inside during this time. I'm doing so much fucking work that even though every day seems a little bit like the day before, internally, I'm fucking carving space, man. I don't just sit outside. I sit outside and I expand and I heal and I purge and I plan and I dream, and I make room and I consciously put loving energy out into the universe. And I know that each little thing that I'm doing matters on a bigger scale than I might realize. And the same goes for you. You might wonder, like, why you've been spending so much time crying, or why, like I said the other day, you wake up every day exhausted, which is absolutely the truth for me. Even if I go to bed at 10:30 and wake up at 8, which I toss and turn throughout the night, so I need to be in bed a little more to get a full 8 hours. But even if you sleep, the right amount of time, you're still going to be exhausted because you're doing work in the astral. This is what I understand is that this is crunch time. Crunch time. We're all like, I just heard like putting the pedal to the metal. Spirits really working through us to create a fast shift right now in the dynamic of the universe. And that shift is happening within each of us. And then it's going to start pouring out into our external. And as we start to see each other, more people rather, express themselves in this way and move toward their soul path and focus on self-love, confirmation, the more that we're going to know that the work we're doing is actually paying off. Okay. The work you're doing is paying off. Don't get discouraged. Okay. I know this message is, I honestly don't know what I've said because I channel everything I say. Some of it I was like, does that even make sense? I have no idea. Hopefully it did. But I know the channeled message made sense. And I know some of you guys have been greatly anticipating it. But just know that some of you are the reason why it's not coming in yet. Because A, you're not ready. And the other thing is, I was realizing the other day, say for example, you've been told since you were young that you're supposed to be famous. Not all of us want to be famous. I've always joked like I wouldn't mind being famous, like a famous writer or something where it's like nobody really, not that many people know what you look like. You can kind of walk down the street unmolested unless it's like a specific fan of your work. Unlike being a Hollywood star or some kind of musician that everybody knows. I don't really want to be the kind of person that walks down the street and gets harassed by people, or I really value my anonymity. My point is, part of why things don't move forward when we're not ready is because we need to make room and get ready. And it's also an opportunity for us to be grateful. Remember what the message said, be grateful for what we have now. Because especially if you don't want to be famous and you know that you're going to be, enjoy not being famous now. Enjoy being able to walk down the street and just be unrecognizable. Enjoy being able to sit in your backyard for 8 hours if you fucking want to. Enjoy the slowness of your life right now because it's going to pick up. And this goes for everyone, fame or not, money or not. It doesn't matter what the messages you're getting from your guides are or have been, your life is going to change. Enjoy it for what it is now. Even if what you see isn't what you want to see, there are things that you can be grateful for. Trust me. And there are things that later you're going to look back on and think, I wish I was a little more grateful for that period of time. And I know some of you are rolling your eyes, but it's true. Even in the worst circumstances, there's always something to be grateful for. And when you shift into this new reality that I think we're all about to shift into, you're going to be like, whoa, I thought my life was complicated back then. When you start getting these blessings and this workload that a lot of us are about to step into because they come together, um, you're going to be a little overwhelmed. And you feel overwhelmed already. That's why this is a period of pause and rest, to recalibrate, to catch up with where you are now before it gets bigger, harder. It's going to get harder. With the more blessings and the more responsibility, you're going to be shocked. I know that that's the part I'm like, I'm cool with resting right now because I'm tired. I'm still working through a lot of darkness for the collective. And that's why I go to bed every night exhausted and wake up every day exhausted, even though to some people it looks like I'm not doing anything all day. It's because I'm, excuse me, powering through that dark, dense energy for myself and the entire collective. It's a fucking big job. I know I'm not the only one doing it, but it is a big job. And anyone else who has it knows it can exhaust you, it can drain you. We're not supposed to go out into this new phase of our lives like triumphant while we're still exhausted from the last battle we fought. Rest now. Don't force yourself to do anything, okay? Don't just rest though, rest in gratitude. Be grateful for the rest that you have. If you have the kind of free time that I have right now, be grateful. Even if you don't have a lot of money to go with it, be grateful for what you have now. Because I'm telling you, when the money comes, for example, you're going to have a lot more responsibility and you're going to you're going to long for the days when you could just sit out in your backyard and just hang out or whatever, wherever you like to hang out. Maybe just hang out alone. You're going to miss the days when you're alone. Trust me. Okay. So I don't know who that was for, but I know it was for somebody, and you're not alone. All right. I'm with you. I love you. You need a private reading, mentorship, self-love coaching. My website is sacredmuseproject.com. I'm also having a trauma workshop, y'all, on Saturday, May 25th at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's a real small group right now. I'm hoping it gets a little bigger, but it's a good news for you if you sign up because we'll have more time to focus on you individually, if that's what you want. There's going to be a portion at the end where we can share. We can open up and share if we want, but for those that don't want, can bounce out before that happens, okay? So don't get worried about feeling on the spot. I only offered that part because I felt like people might want to talk about what they've been through. If you don't, that's totally fine. I'm also going to record it. So if you can't make it, I'm going to record the part where people aren't sharing in the middle, roughly about 45 minutes to an hour. And I'll be taking donations for people who want to partake after the fact in a pre recorded sort of trauma workshop. So let me know if you're interested in that. But I'll put the description, I'm sorry, I'll put all the information in the description box and hope to see some of you this Saturday for the workshop. And feel free to reach out with questions. I love you so much. Keep going. I'll see you soon.